Hello friends, Biman Gandhi here, and here is another snippet on the topic of leadership. Ever since we have coined this new terminology called leadershift, people have been very curious to understand the meaning of this word shift into leadership. Well, there is no specific definition to it, but in my opinion, there are two very strong sentences which explains the meaning of leadership in the most beautiful way. And it says, if you do not make time to create the life that you want, you will end up wasting your time dealing with the life that you do not want. So powerfully it is put up, isn't it? So, as a leader, how you shift your focus from dealing with things, the situation in front of you, to create something of greater significance. Before we go further, I must admit that I'm not saying that the situations or the things that you are dealing with are of no importance. They are important. But it's all about shifting your focus slowly and consciously towards the things that you really want to create and create a life that you want. Let's try to understand with these two examples. The first example is output versus outcome. When you are in a dealing zone, either as a person or profession, you are most focused and concerned about the results that you are going to produce as a result of your action or the activity that you have taken up. Again, nothing wrong with it. But how do we measure our outputs? Typically, it is in numbers or figures. How much we have created, how many pieces of product, or how much volume that we have created in a given time or a day. So that's how we are busy, and that's what is called as dealing with outcome. But if you shift your focus from output to outcome, suddenly you will start seeing yourself. You are now looking at the different aspect of it, which is how faster you are doing things or how better you are doing things. So your focus simply moves from just counting numbers to creating something which is of great value. So shifting your focus from counting numbers to creating values is nothing but shifting this focus from output to outcome. The other example is control versus influence. Typically, when you get into some kind of position of power and when you are entrusted with certain authority, the natural tendency is to exercise your authority and you start controlling things. You start controlling your environment. You start making things happen only through control. I strongly believe that controlling always has a limit. There is a limit to which you can exercise your control, and beyond that limit, you cannot really manage things the way you want. What happens is when you hit the limit, you suddenly feel either powerless or you get frustrated and you start craving for more power or more authority. Try replacing this controlling tendency with influence. What is influence? Influence is nothing but creating an environment when things happen with very little or sometimes almost at no effort. How does it happen? Take an example of yeast. You put a yeast in the dough and leave the dough aside for some time. After a while, when dough wakes up, it's already yeasted. Not a sound that yeast makes, does it? Or if you put a salt in a piece of food over a period of time, the entire piece of food absorbs the saltiness of that salt, not a sound that salt makes. The environment where I am shooting this clip, it is well illuminated right now, and that's why you don't see any darkness. But when I switch off this light and go home, suddenly this place will be filled with darkness, and this place also will be filled with tartars, mosquitoes, and insects. The moment sun rises and this place is filled with light again, the insects and the tartars and the darkness, everything will go away. It doesn't make any sound. Light doesn't fight darkness, does it? That's influence. So, next time when you are exercising your leadership, be conscious to replace it with some actions and behaviors that is no longer just dealing with the things, but it is creating something of great significance. All the best to you. Thank you for watching.